What's up, guys and gals? It's your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys the latest piece of One Piece, chapter 1091, entitled Sentomaru, and for no better reason than the fact that some people sleeping on this. Some people sleeping on the fact that Kizaru came in, attacked Sentomaru guard up, and full hockey block. Full hockey block, because Sentomaru actually, because it's Kizaru's next attack that actually hits Sentomaru. If you actually follow the panels of the pages, I saw only one person on Reddit actually bring this up, because a lot of people were saying Sentomaru's nothing, Speed Blitz, blah blah blah. What was the point? Yeah, we got the backstory that Kizaru and Vegapunk found a young Sentomaru this chapter, and he was big and tough and strong, but he wasn't really so good with words, and people were a little bit afraid of him because he was so monstrously strong, and all he wanted was some money. All he wanted to do was get some food in his stomach, right? So Vegapunk and Kizaru found him, a little bit adorable and that kind of idea, and somewhat fun. So they sort of took him in under their own wing. Vegapunk and Kizaru clearly known each other a very, very long time, maybe even before Kizaru was part of the Marines. We still don't really have how Kizaru has been so closely tied to Vegapunk for so many years yet. But that being said, because we know for a fact that at this stage that there was a point where Dragon got mad at Vegapunk for saying, "I hear that you've recently started joining the world government and stuff, and you're gonna condone that kind of stuff." So Vegapunk wasn't exactly always affiliated with the world government, at least not on the level that he currently is known for. So at what point did Kizaru join the Marines, and at what point did Kizaru literally get assigned to as a bodyguard previously to Vegapunk, sort of idea or something? Like, they seem to be an awful triangle here: Sentomaru, Vegapunk, and Kizaru. But now we sort of get at least the Sentomaru part of the equation figured out. They just found him one day when they were called in to, take care of some bears and stuff like that. But Sentomaru had already done it, and Kizaru was actually was the one to teach Sentomaru how to fight, or at least helped his hockey and that kind of idea. That we learned from that, because he said, my guard is the best in the world, sort of idea. And it's like, well, I taught you everything I could, and I taught you the best I could. And we see that the young Sentomaru was like, I need to know how to protect, if I'm a bodyguard hired to protect Mr. Vegapunk, Dr. Vegapunk, then I need to get stronger. So teach me, old man. I'm not that old yet, and sort of idea. It's a nice little scene, and we do see the back and forth. Clearly, Sentomaru is outmatched by Kizaru. That being said, not trying to touch on the power scaling thing quite yet, but a lot of people associate Admiral as this. People don't treat Admiral as this wide berth of power scaling. I like to look at the individual, and as far as Kizaru goes, so far we have demonstrated that he is a top tier fighter in the Marines. Just period, right? A lot of people, and I have always held this idea, say that the OG admirals are stronger than the post-time skip admirals. I'm one of those people, and I think that this chapter is just slowly but surely proving it once again. And what I like about the opening part of this is that Sentomaru is the fact that he can hold him off, even block a few of his attacks and stuff like that. That's awesome. Good on Sentomaru, but clearly he's out of his league. He's out of his class. Anybody else, I'm sure Sentomaru could take on, maybe even 2v1 some Vice Admirals, if it fell a different way. But Kizaru's just built different, and boom, done, and Sentomaru's out. Now, in about the middle part of the chapter, at first I thought that this authority chip that Kizaru has was given to him by Saturn, was given to him by the Gorosei, because the only ones that have a higher command level than Vegapunk and Sentomaru is the Gorosei. They're the only ones. However, after rereading the chapter, and I said, okay, well that makes sense, that he could override Sentomaru's original orders and commands, and now the PXs are going to attack the Sea Beasts and stuff, so things are looking pretty dicey, pretty bad for Egghead Island. And I was fine with that. I said, I wish we had seen, like, maybe last chapter or the chapter before, maybe we should have seen Saturn be like, take this with you, Kizaru. I'll give my authority chip to you so that you can override Sentomaru's commands once you've taken care of him. And then we can recover the PX50, whatever they are. However, the reread of the chapter causes me a bit of an issue. Now, many people will try to explain this away, but even Tekking didn't fully bring this up, and I'm calling plot device conveniency. I'm calling plot convenience when it suits them, because the authority chip is the lowest rung on the ladder. Sentomaru's command is higher. Kizaru has one of the many authority chips, but it's lower than Sentomaru's. This is stated in this chapter. And Kizaru basically says, well, your original orders from Sentomaru, he's done like dinner. So I'm going to tell you what to do now. So stop following your last command, that's a higher authority than mine, and follow my new command with a lower rank. The PXs listen automatically. Yet when Vegapunks ordered the same authority and tried to reverse commands and orders, they didn't even acknowledge it. They didn't work against, the Seraphim. Remember that? It wasn't that long ago where York commanded the Seraphim to do A, B, and C. Once they started doing that, the other Vegapunks tried to with the same authority level. Now, once again, the same authority level, B class authority. If you want to do A, B, C, B class authority issued command A. B class authority tried to commission stop command A. No dice, no malfunction, didn't even attempt to work. Now, for some reason, command C can be stopped by command D. Yeah, that's my big problem with this chapter, because otherwise the chapter actually flows fine, and I like how the chapter ends. I think we all do. But what? Okay, so this is plot convenience at its best. And if someone tries to tell me, oh, well, York ordered them, don't listen to any of the other Vegapunks as part of the order and stuff like that, it's like, okay, that is literally a cop-out. That's seriously a cop-out. And if you think that, then all that makes, once again, Vegapunk, the more chapters that go on, it makes him just look that much more incompetent. Tekking did bring that part up in his review that I watched. Vegapunk is one of the most naive, incompetent geniuses I've ever read in fiction. Ever heard of. I really don't like Vegapunk or any of this stuff that goes on with him. But this is just bad. This is just bad plot convenience at its finest. So Kizaru can. So you're saying, or what they're doing is York was smart enough, even though we've seen that Vegapunk and York specifically is stupid, and so is Vegapunk for the most part, really makes some bad decisions and no forward thinking whatsoever for the genius. Has no forward thinking or planning whatsoever, or any other possible situations that may or may not come up. Never plans ahead. Yet York could figure out to make this arbitrary order that don't listen to Sentomaru, Vegapunk, or anybody else. Only listen to my order. That's my latest command. So you can't listen to any other orders that come in. This is your last order until I say so. She's smart enough to do that. Sentomaru, knowing about the authority chips, is not smart enough to say, no matter what Kizaru, no matter what the authority chips say, follow my order to the last. So you're basically 6 to 1, half a dozen the other here. Somebody's a dumbass. Or something fucked up. There's no other way to look at it, right? So, yeah, that's my spiel on that, but in all honesty, either somebody is way smarter than they should be, somebody's way stupider than they should be, or it doesn't actually make sense, and maybe Oda made a slight error in mistake there. And easily solved if you just said that the 5 elders, who was right there on the ship, gave Kizaru the authority chip, because I'm sure they know the pecking order themselves. I'm sure they know it. And he just gave his to Kizaru once he took out Sentomaru so that they could get the army of pacifistas. That one panel with one dialogue bubble solves all these problems. It really does. But because the Seraphim didn't listen to the Vegapunks, and now the PXs are listening to Kizaru, this is an issue. This is a flat out problem. Okay? And if you can say, oh, well, since Sentomaru is passed out, the only other way is Sentomaru is passed out, so now his command isn't viable anymore and there's some link or something like that, right? If you make that argument. Well, why not just it, and seriously, once again, proving that Vegapunk, if that's the case, is not that bright, why wouldn't they just knock York out and then they wouldn't have to bubble restrain the Seraphim? They wouldn't need the bubble gun. Because they could literally just say, alright, Luffy could just punk, and there York is knocked out. Ah, York is knocked out and unconscious, so the Stella body can now order the Seraphim to stand down and disregard all of York's orders. Problem solved. But they don't do that. So that tells me that knocked out and unconscious has nothing to do with the authority ladder tier. Yeah, big problem there, honestly, in this chapter. But it's the only real problem because for people who like Lucci, and I like Lucci pre-time skip, post-time skip, Lucci is just, he's not it. Because we continue on, Kizaru, of course, he gets where he's going. We know that Lucci was doing the whole molar transmission thing with Morse code to the ship and stuff. And he takes this opportunity to attack and Stussy notices it. Lucci goes forth, tries to take out Vegapunk right away, and then boom, Stussy notices, gets involved right away, and takes the hit. But it seems like a very bloody hit. It might be the Rokurogon. It may be. It looks like a devastating hit by a damaged Luffy, or Lucci, but Luffy. Lucci nonetheless. And then I'm just looking now. I don't think it was. It's the finger attack thing. It's not the Rokurogon, but anyways, seems to hit a vital organ on Stussy there. And so that really sucks. Then Stussy goes down, and this is where Sanji takes the initiative right away. And I've seen the memes, and yes, they're funny. But noticing what's going down right away, Sanji immediately takes the bubble gun and makes sure that Kaku, as a Devil Fruit user, as we were already told that the bubble thing affects that too, is now locked up so that Kaku can't go and aid Lucci. So Sanji, I'm gonna argue, yes, the memes are funny, they kind of are, but forward thinking on Sanji's part, it's like, we don't have time to deal with even an injured CP0 agent right now. He might cause a little bit of havoc. You know, the Vegapunks can't really seemingly defend themselves that well. I can't be a frontline attacker and defending at the same time, you know, so forward thinking on Sanji's part there. And then Zoro, boom, you know, straight up, only 2 sword style, of course, because we don't need 3 swords against Lucci to take him out. But Zoro ends up attacking Lucci, and here Lucci stocks just boop, 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 going down because Zoro straight up calls him out on it and ain't wrong. He's like, looks like you waited for backup to grow a spine. Pretty much, yeah. And then Lucci has the balls to say to a stronger, once again, Zoro is 100% stronger than Lucci, has been since before the time skip. Okay? I would argue Marineford, Zoro right at the time of Marineford could have 1v1'd Lucci. Maybe it would have been a really high diff fight, but Lucci probably wouldn't have been able to beat Zoro at that point, and clearly post-time Zoro has always been able to take out Lucci, and at this point, I mean, Zoro's been just leaps and bounds since Wano, so yeah, this is set. And Lucci, of course, is beat up and stuff. You could argue they're the same amount of beat up or what have you, but still, the fact that he counters with, "You're as good as dead now that Kizaru and I are working together," acting as though the fact that Kizaru is here isn't the main reason that anybody's worried for shit, okay? And it's like, "You're all as good as dead now that Kizaru and I are here," acting like he just arrived, acting like he had any balls before that. Like, I'm with Zoro here. Looks like you had to wait for an admiral to show up to grow a spine and act like you're gonna take credit or top shit. Like, no. Stabbing people in the back, attacking friends. You're just a two-bit assassin, you know? And it's like, you don't underestimate us and all this stuff. So, anyway, Zoro is gonna fight Lucci, and I imagine that's gonna be a very, that's going to be a loss on Lucci's part. I'm sorry. Though, then again, I sort of feel like where this isn't a they fight and win the territory sort of arc. Egghead is, we got to get away with the Vegapunks right now. So, like what's going to come up here at the end of the chapter, I feel like these clashes are going to be undecided, right? Zoro's probably going to get the clear upper hand and not have to go all out, or take Lucci out for the most part, maybe. Same with what's happening here, where Kizaru and Luffy finally, boom, clash right away at the end of the chapter, where Luffy doesn't care anymore and stuff like that. You know, Kizaru's reminiscing like, you know, it's been a long time since I remember this, you know. It's been a couple of years since last time I chased it. Sort of made me nostalgic. And then Luffy, everyone's like, "Luffy, hey Luffy, where are you?" And he just stops, "Long time no see." Boom, speed blitz, and Kizaru has to block. And we see the hockey, and it's just like, "I see that you're as cheeky as ever." And Luffy just grinning like a madman in base form. "We're hundreds of times stronger than we were 2 years ago, Kizaru." And end of, so engaging an admiral finally, and once again, I like Fujitora, but not engaging Fraud Bull, and not engaging Fujitora, but engaging Kizaru. Someone who you could argue is, like, let's freaking go. See, that's why I don't like using Yonko and Admiral. It's too much. Nowadays, back in the day, it was a very clear class of power. Now, it's too broad. It's too broad. It's like the Warlords, Admirals, Yonko. They're too broad a spectrum of power scaling to really use those terms. So, but the fact is, and a lot of people have brought up that this is not, some people are saying, "Oh my god, look at this. It's the advanced Conqueror's hockey, even in base form, and Kizaru's blocking it like it's nothing, and he doesn't have Conqueror, so like, what's going on and stuff?" Alright. So, we don't really have enough indication anymore, and I'm guilty of this too, that the Black Lightning necessarily means Conqueror's hockey. There's been many instances of just armament hockey usage where the Black Lightning lines have been shown. Normally what people are referring to is the big, when two Conqueror's hockey users clash, we get the big, you know, the shockwave and the Black Lightning and stuff like that, right? I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say that this is probably just armament hockey Luffy attacking right here. It could be Conqueror's hockey, and once again, this is just base Luffy doing a standard ass kick. Kizaru's no slouch. Like, once again, if Advanced Conquerors was not blockable by an Admiral, even if he didn't have Conqueror's hockey, then the Yonka would have taken over decades ago. This would not have been a question. Kaido would have just shown up and Thunder Bogwood, his Advanced Conquerors, through Aokiji, Sakazuki, through the Vice and all the Admirals. It wouldn't have been a question. The only ones who could have fought him would have been Garp and Sengoku. Those are the only two. So, is that really the case? No, of course not. Conqueror's hockey and Advanced Conquerors are, of course, the pinnacle of hockey. I would argue if you can infuse your attacks with Advanced Conquerors, it's literally going to be stronger than Advanced Armament, right? I think we can agree. And you can do both, apparently. You can coat both at the same time and attack. Of course, it's going to make your attack stronger. But with a good enough armament hockey, like I'm sure Kizaru has, I'm sure he can block it. He's been an Admiral for many years. He's one of the top combatants in the Marines. He's one of the two strongest, well, let's see, we have Garp and Sengoku technically aren't really there anymore, so anyway, he's definitely in the top 5 strongest Marines in the world government's repertoire. One base Luffy Conqueror's hockey kick was never going to do, you know what I mean? So I really just like this. I love all the debates going on. It's toxic as hell, so you sort of love to hate it. But at the end of the day, it's a great shot. I love that Luffy, everyone was worried about it. I already called bullshit on the whole last chapter where he was sweating bullets and he's like, oh my god, Kizaru, I am not ready for this. That wasn't the case. Many people explained it away, and clearly Luffy has no qualms with being like, yeah, jumping in head first, or foot first in this case. Let's see what I can do up against an Admiral. He's doing a Goku here. He's looking to test out his strength. Like, I want a good fight. Let's go. I haven't had a good fight since Wano. That was literally yesterday, Luffy. Yeah, but, you know, it's been a whole 24 hours. We've all grown, you know. Like, I feel like Luffy is literally doing that just for the sake of, I just want to see what, you know, I remember Sapodi Archipelago. I just want to see, you know, he's playing around. So, either way, I'm really looking forward to this. I agree with a lot of people's assessment that this is not going to be a definitive battle. Once again, this is a runaway thing, sort of like the fight against Big Mom leaving Whole Cake. It's not like Wano or anything like that. This is not going to be a victor and a loser. This is going to be Luffy and Kizaru are probably going to have a couple of good exchanges, some clashes. We're going to see the full extent of what Gear 5th and Gear 4th at this point can do to Kizaru. You know, we're going to sort of be able to gauge Luffy truly now, I think, up against a proper opponent, not against a weakened Kaido, not against a newly awakened form with all the foolery there. We're going to see, alright, two guys on this tier. Let's just see how far Luffy's come, and I think it's going to be great. Once again, I don't think we're going to have one, same with Lucci versus Zoro. Maybe Lucci, at best, Lucci gets taken out, but I don't think either Luffy or Kizaru gets taken out. I think the Straw Hats get away, Kizaru gets a little banged up, Luffy gets a little banged up, and that's going to be the, you know, the long and the short of it, but it's still going to be awesome to see. With that being said, though, that is my review. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As always, we'll be back here next time for the next piece of One Piece. I can't wait to watch the live action. It's coming out, I think, today. I think it's out today. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to be checking that out after done eating supper and doing a bunch of other stuff. So, anyways, don't spoil anything for anybody, guys, if you guys can help it, but I'm really looking forward to checking out those episodes when I get a chance this weekend. But yeah, that's it from me. Have a good one, everybody. Sayonara.